Hi, I'm Chef Liz, and today we will be making fresh spring rolls and sushi. We will begin by making fresh spring rolls, and to do that, I want to first start by sauteing our tofu to add a little bit of extra flavor and texture. Just set your burner to a medium to high heat. Once your pan is warmed, then you can begin by adding a little bit of oil. Here I'm using a safflower oil, which has a very high smoke point. Once the oil is slightly warm, then we can begin by adding our tofu. If you need to, you can also use a splatter shield to prevent any of the oil from rising and burning you during the cooking process. You want to cook the tofu long enough so that it begins to turn a little bit golden brown on the bottom. And once you start to see some of that color, then you can flip it. And once your tofu is done cooking, then you can turn off the heat. And we will carefully remove the tofu and put it on a plate with a paper towel to help absorb some of the excess oil. Once your tofu is nice and cooled, then you can begin by soaking your rice paper wrapper in water. You want to submerge this for about 20 to 30 seconds and not too much longer. A lot of people make the mistake of soaking their rice paper wrapper for too long, which can sometimes result in your rice paper wrapper ripping or tearing. The rice paper wrappers also will come in round circles, so you can use either one to make the spring rolls that we're making today. Once your rice paper wrapper is nice and pliable, transfer it to your plate, and you can begin adding your ingredients to the center of the rice paper. When you begin adding your vegetables to your wrapper, make sure that you don't add too much, because if you do, it can become too full and it will be really challenging for you to roll the rice paper. Once all our ingredients are in place, begin wrapping the roll by taking the two ends closest to yourself and pulling them over the ingredients and kind of beginning to push it down a little bit. Bring your edges in, and then you will carefully tuck the ingredients in, and there you go. To accompany our spring rolls, we will be making an almond butter sauce. And you can also use a peanut butter if you'd like, or any other kind of nutty butter. Just make sure that you buy creamy as opposed to crunchy. To make our sauce, all we will be doing is adding our ingredients to a larger mixing bowl and whisking it together. If you need to thin out your sauce at all, feel free to add a little bit of water to get it to the right consistency for yourself. You want it to be nice and creamy but not runny. And for a little heat, you can add a pinch or two of cayenne pepper. And once all of your ingredients are well incorporated, then your sauce is complete and it's ready to be served with your spring rolls. For our sushi, I again have all of the ingredients prepped and ready to go, which will make the whole process much more efficient. I have here some tofu that has been marinated in a shoyu and ginger and water solution, which will also help incorporate a little extra flavor to our sushi. Make sure that you have a sushi mat as well as nori paper. Nori is a really great way to incorporate some of the natural sea minerals into your actual diet. Begin by spreading your sushi rice, which has been fully cooked and cooled, onto your nori paper. Once the rice is ready to go, then you can begin by adding your tofu and vegetables. Once all of your ingredients are in the center of the nori, you can begin rolling your sushi. So make sure that the nori is at the very edge of your sushi mat. And start by pinching the mat and the nori together and rolling it over your ingredients. As you do this, firmly but gently begin squeezing the mat to make sure that everything begins sticking together. You're going to notice that you begin folding back the sushi mat so that it doesn't get tucked inside your sushi roll. Once you begin to get close to the edge and there's no more rice or filling, then just wet the edge of the nori with a little bit of water, and that will help seal your roll together. And at the very end, you can give it a final tight squeeze to make sure that everything stays together. The next step is just to begin slicing your nori. And to do that, you want to either use a serrated knife, such as this one, or you can just use a really sharp chef's knife. And that completes your sushi roll. To accompany our sushi, I'm going to make a very simple dipping sauce using filtered water, shoyu, and a little bit of ginger juice. All you have to do is stir it together, and then you can carefully place it in your serving dish. And that concludes our lesson on how to make fresh spring rolls and sushi. Enjoy.